You know that moment when you check your bank account and you don't immediately want to throw your phone across the room? When you stop doing mental math at the grocery store, wondering if you can actually afford eggs this week? There's a specific dollar amount where everything shifts. And it's not what the finance gurus on Instagram want you to think. Most people will tell you that you need a six-figure salary to feel secure, or that $1 million is when life really changes, but they're missing something crucial. There's a much smaller number that completely transforms how your brain thinks about money. And once you cross it, you can't go back. That number is $20,000. Now, before we get into why $20,000 is so powerful, let me ask you something. What do you picture when you think about building wealth? Maybe it's some tech bro who got lucky with Bitcoin, or someone grinding away at 3 jobs just to save a few $100 a month. The reality is completely different. Wealth building doesn't happen in a straight line. There are certain dollar amounts that act like gates. Once you pass through one, the entire game changes. And $20,000 is the first real gate that separates people who will eventually build serious wealth from people who will spend their whole lives stressed about money. The wild part? Most people have no idea this gate even exists. Think about pushing a boulder up a hill. The first few feet are brutal. You're sweating, your legs are burning, and you're barely moving. But once you build momentum, it gets easier. Then you hit a slight downhill, and suddenly the boulder is practically rolling itself. That's exactly what $20,000 does for your finances. Everything before, it feels like pushing uphill in the summer heat. Everything after, it feels like momentum is working with you instead of against you. But here's the part that surprised me when I started researching this. The difference isn't just about having more money to invest. The real magic happens inside your head. When you don't have savings, your brain operates in what psychologists call survival mode. And I don't mean that in some dramatic way. I mean, your brain literally can't focus on growth when it's worried about keeping the lights on. Every decision gets filtered through fear. You take the first job that offers you something because you can't risk waiting for a better opportunity. You stay in situations that make you miserable because leaving feels too dangerous. You say yes to things you hate because you need the money. This isn't about being weak or irresponsible. When you're in survival mode, your brain doesn't have the bandwidth to think about opportunity. It's like trying to plan a vacation while your house is actively flooding. All your mental energy goes to dealing with the immediate crisis. But something shifts when you hit $20,000. Your brain finally has room to breathe. Instead of asking, how do I make it to Friday? You start asking, how can I actually grow this? Instead of reacting to whatever financial disaster pops up, you can start being proactive. Vanguard did research on this. They found that having just $2,000 in emergency savings increases your financial well-being by 21%. $2,000, that's less than most people spend on a vacation. But that small cushion creates a massive shift because you're not in pure panic mode anymore. When you push that emergency fund to 3 to 6 months of expenses, which for most people is around $20,000, you get another 13% boost in well-being. But more importantly, your brain can finally start thinking about building wealth instead of just protecting what you have. Now here's where the math gets really interesting. Let's say you're saving $1,000 every month and earning 8% returns on your investments. Getting to your first $20,000 takes about 19 months, a year and a half of discipline, of saying no to things and making sacrifices. Most people quit somewhere in that 19 months because it feels impossible. But your second $20,000? It only takes 17 months. You saved 2 full months just because you had that first $20,000 working for you. Same effort, same monthly contributions, same investments. But the timeline shrinks because your money is doing some of the work now. That's compound interest starting to kick in. And it only accelerates from there. By the time you're going for your third $20,000, it happens even faster. Once you hit $400,000 in investments, you can generate another $20,000 in just 5 months. The same amount that took you nearly 2 years at the start is now happening automatically. That first milestone feels brutal. Every milestone after gets progressively easier. Now, you might think wealthy people have access to some secret investment opportunities that regular folks can't touch. Like there's some exclusive club that unlocks at certain wealth levels. And sure, at the ultra high end, that exists. But that's not what's driving this phenomenon. Quick note, This channel is brand new, and if this information is clicking for you, hit subscribe and smash that like button. It's free for you, but it pushes this video to more people who are grinding paycheck to paycheck instead of investing. The algorithm works by engagement, so you help someone else discover why $20,000 is the turning point they've been missing. All right, back to it. The real secret is just basic math working in your favor. When you've got $20,000 in investments earning 8% annually, that's $1,600 flowing in over the year without you lifting a finger. Money you didn't earn at your job. Money that appeared because your existing money was working for you. The investment strategy isn't more sophisticated than what someone with $1,000 can use. You can buy the exact same index funds, use the same brokerages, follow the same principles. The only difference is scale, and that scale transforms small percentage gains into actual financial progress. But there's another psychological shift that happens here. You start seeing opportunities instead of just threats. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, every unexpected expense is a disaster. When you have $20,000 in the bank, these same events become minor annoyances. Your car needs repairs, irritating, but not catastrophic. Even better, you start noticing opportunities that were always there, but you couldn't act on before. Your friend mentions they're starting a business and looking for investors. Before, you would have thought, that's cool, and moved on. Now you can actually consider putting $5,000 into it. This is what people mean when they say money goes to money. It's not some conspiracy. It's that having money gives you options. And options create more opportunities to make money. Now, let's talk about what this does to your career, because this is where it gets really interesting. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're trapped. Your boss could be terrible. Your coworkers could be toxic. The work could be soul-crushing. But you can't leave because you need that next paycheck to survive. But $20,000 changes everything. Suddenly, you have walking away money. You could quit tomorrow and survive for months while finding something better. This doesn't mean you should be reckless, but it means you're negotiating from strength instead of desperation. You start asking for the raise you deserve because the worst they can say is no. You push back on unreasonable requests. You explore new opportunities because you can afford some risk. Here's what's crazy. You often don't even need to use this walking away money. Just having it changes your entire presence at work. You become more confident, more assertive. And people notice, but here's where people mess this up. They hit $20,000, feel that shift, and immediately blow it on something stupid. Maybe they decide they deserve a new car, or they take an expensive vacation because they've earned it. Don't do this. That $20,000 isn't a reward. It's the foundation of your entire financial future. It's the seed that grows into generational wealth if you're patient enough to let it compound. The average person spends more on their car over their lifetime than it would take to achieve financial independence. Between payments, insurance, maintenance, and gas, most people drop $600 to $800 monthly on transportation. Over 40 years, that's $400,000 or more. That $30,000 car isn't just $30,000. It's $30,000 that could grow to over $200,000 in your investment account over 20 years. Suddenly, driving a reliable used car doesn't feel like a sacrifice. It feels like a strategic choice funding your future freedom. The irony is beautiful. The person driving the flashy new car is stressed about money. The person driving the older Honda is quietly building wealth and sleeping better at night. Once you start thinking this way, you realize you don't actually want half the stuff you thought you wanted. That bigger apartment, the extra space would be nice, but is it worth delaying financial independence by 5 years? This isn't about becoming a miser who never enjoys anything. It's about being intentional with your money instead of letting it slip away on things that don't matter to you. Look, $20,000 won't make you rich overnight, but it fundamentally changes how you think about money and opportunity. It's the difference between surviving and thriving, between reacting to life and designing it. So here's my question for you. What would change in your life if you had $20,000 saved right now? Would you finally leave that job you hate? Start that business you've been thinking about? Actually sleep through the night without financial anxiety? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you found this helpful, make sure you're subscribed because we're breaking down personal finance topics like this every week. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make right now.